decoding the fundamentals of crypto, one block at a time. Welcome to Chain Insights, where we analyze and break down the core principles of exciting crypto projects using cutting-edge AI tools. Always remember that our content is for educational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice.
All right, so let's dive into this Near protocol. We've gotten a ton of info on it from you. Articles, their Medium page, their white paper, even some market data from CoinGecko. So you're definitely looking for some answers here.
Yeah, and it seems like you're hearing all this buzz about Web3, the open web, and how Near might be a major player in all of that.
Yeah, maybe you're a little skeptical too, wondering if they could really deliver on all those promises. Well, we're going to unpack all of it together and see what Near protocol is really all about.
I think what's interesting about Near is that they're not just focused on blockchain tech, they're really aiming to solve some of the bigger issues with the internet as we know it today.
Okay, so let's start with the basics then.
Yeah.
What is Near protocol exactly?
So at its core, Near is a layer one blockchain. Think of it like the foundation of a house where all the decentralized applications or dApps can be built on top. But Near is going for something bigger, more like building an entire city, a whole new internet experience.
So it's not just another blockchain trying to be faster or cheaper than the rest.
Not at all.
They're aiming for something more fundamental.
Exactly. They want to make the internet more user-friendly, more equitable, and give users back control of their data.
That's a pretty tall order. I mean, we've all heard this hype about Web3 before. What makes Near think that they can actually pull this off where others have struggled?
Well, they're tackling a few key challenges head-on. First, scalability. If a decentralized internet is going to be used by millions, even billions of people, it needs to be able to handle a massive amount of transactions without slowing down or getting too expensive.
Right. That's always been a big hurdle for these blockchain projects.
Yeah.
How does Near address that?
They developed this innovative sharding technology called Nightshade. Imagine, instead of having one giant highway for all the internet traffic, Near builds multiple lanes.
So each lane can handle its own traffic, and that keeps everything flowing smoothly.
Exactly. And as more cars, or in this case transactions, get on the road, Near can just build more lanes. This means for you as a user, you're not going to be waiting forever for your transactions to go through, even if Near gets super popular.
Okay, so no traffic jams on the Near highway. I like that. But what about actually using it? Blockchain has kind of a reputation for being, well, intimidating for the average person. Is Near really aiming for user friendliness?
Absolutely. One of their key principles is making blockchain accessible to everyone, not just the tech wizards. For example, remember those long cryptic wallet addresses that you see on other blockchains?
Oh yeah, those strings of random characters. Impossible to remember.
Well, Near gets rid of all of that. They use human-readable account names like yourname.near, much easier to remember and to share right.
That's a huge improvement. It's like the difference between trying to navigate with coordinates versus using a simple street address.
Exactly. And for developers, Near supports familiar programming languages like JavaScript, so you don't need to learn an entirely new language to start building on Near, which makes it a lot more appealing to a wider range of developers.
Hold on, you said contract rewards. That's a pretty cool incentive for developers. So if I build a popular dApp on Near, I get a cut of the fees.
That's right. Near gives developers a share of the network fees that are generated by the use of their contracts. It's a way to encourage innovation
Right.
and reward the people who are contributing to the ecosystem.
Okay, so we've got scalability and user friendliness. But what about security? How do they make sure that this decentralized internet is actually safe and reliable?
They've got some clever mechanisms in place. First, they use something called thresholded proof of stake. You can think of it like a voting system where everybody gets a say, not just the people with most tokens. This keeps the network decentralized and prevents any single entity from having too much control.
So it's not just a free-for-all where the richest always win.
Not at all. Near's system ensures that even smaller participants have a chance to contribute to the network's security. And they can earn rewards too. And then they have these hidden validators. They kind of randomly pop up to double check the work of other validators, like undercover agents keeping everyone honest.
So even if some validators try to pull a fast one, they're likely to get caught.
Exactly. And if anyone spots any funny business, they can report it to the network as what they call a fisherman, and then earn rewards for helping to maintain security. It's all designed to make the network as resilient and trustworthy as possible.
Okay, so we've got scalability, user friendliness, and security. But you mentioned earlier that Near is really pushing the boundaries with AI integration. What's that all about?
That's where things get really interesting. NEAR has introduced something called the Agent Interaction and Transaction Protocol, or AITP. It's basically a framework for AI agents to be able to interact with the blockchain autonomously.
Wait, so we're just letting AI loose on the blockchain. How does Near ensure that these agents don't go rogue and just start causing chaos?
Well, it's a valid concern, and NEAR has implemented safeguards to make sure that that doesn't happen, that the AI interaction is responsible. But this technology has the potential to revolutionize how we interact with the internet. They've even launched what they call shade agents, which are the first fully autonomous AI agents that are operating on a blockchain.
Okay, autonomous AI agents. That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. What can these agents actually do?
Imagine having a personal AI assistant that can manage your finances for you, book your appointments, even interact with other applications on your behalf, all while operating securely and transparently on the blockchain. That's the kind of potential we're talking about here.
That's a pretty mind-blowing concept.
Yeah.
But let's bring in some real-world context here. We've got some market data from CoinGecko, right?
Yes, and it tells an interesting story.
Okay, hit me with the numbers.
Well, Near Protocol is currently sitting at a market cap of over $4 billion, placing it comfortably in the top 40 cryptocurrencies.
Okay, that's significant. But is it just hype, or is there real substance behind these numbers?
There's definitely substance. What's even more impressive is that Near's 24-hour trading volume has surged by over 60%. This suggests that there's growing interest from investors, which could further fuel Near's development and adoption.
So there's real money flowing into Near, and it's not just coming from diehard crypto fans. This suggests that people are seeing real potential in what Near is building.
Exactly. And this interest is likely being driven by a combination of factors: the innovative technology, the strong team, the vibrant community, and of course, the potential for real-world applications.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground already. We have a good sense of what Near Protocol is, its key features, and the potential that it holds. But let's dive a bit deeper into those real-world applications. What are some concrete examples of how Near is being used today?
That's a great question. Let's shift our focus from the theoretical to the practical and explore how Near is already making waves in a variety of industries.
I'm all ears. Bring on those real-world examples.
One of the most exciting areas is decentralized finance, or DeFi. Near provides the perfect platform for building secure and transparent financial applications.
So instead of relying on those traditional banks, you could use Near-based apps to lend, borrow, or trade crypto directly with other users.
That's right. It cuts out the middleman and gives users more control over their assets.
That sounds pretty empowering, especially for people who might not have access to traditional banking services. But what about beyond finance? What other cool stuff is happening on Near?
Gaming is another area where Near is really making a big impact. Imagine a world where you actually own your in-game items and can trade or sell them just like any other asset.
Hold on, you're saying that if I find like a super rare sword in a game, it's not just stuck in that game's world. I could actually own it as an NFT on the blockchain and trade it for, I don't know, maybe even real money.
Exactly. That's the power of blockchain. It creates a whole new economy around in-game assets, giving players more ownership and control.
That's a game changer,
Yeah.
literally. So Near is being used for finance gaming. What other real-world applications are out there?
We're seeing Near-powered projects popping up in all sorts of areas. Decentralized social media platforms where you control your own data, supply chain management systems that can track products from origin to delivery with complete transparency, even digital identity solutions that give you more control over your online identity.
It's like Near is laying the groundwork for a whole new internet, one that's more transparent, more secure, and one that puts users back in control.
That's the vision. But it's not just the technology that's impressive, it's the people behind it too. Near has a really impressive team.
Oh, yeah. I was actually curious about that. What kind of people are building this thing?
Well, the Near team is made up of experienced engineers, cryptographers, and entrepreneurs, people who have tackled some of the toughest challenges in blockchain. They've also attracted top talent from big tech companies and research institutions.
So they've got the brains and the experience to back up their ambitions. But even with a great team, building a new internet is a massive undertaking. How are they building momentum and getting people on board?
They're doing a fantastic job fostering a strong and active community. They've organized hackathons, offered grants, and created a ton of educational resources. They understand that a decentralized platform truly thrives when it's built and supported by a passionate community.
It sounds like they're not just building a tech platform, but a movement,
Mm.
a whole ecosystem around this idea of a decentralized future.
Precisely. And that community-driven approach is evident in the way that NEAR handles governance as well. A lot of the decision-making is actually done through DAOs, or decentralized autonomous organizations.
DAOs, that's something I'm still trying to wrap my head around. They sound pretty radical. Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Okay, so imagine a group of friends pooling their money to buy a pizza. Instead of one person deciding what toppings to get, everyone gets a vote based on how much they chipped in.
Okay, so it's like a democratic pizza party. Everyone has a say.
Exactly. Now replace the pizza with a whole organization.
Yeah.
And the money with tokens. And you've got a DAO. It's an organization that's owned and governed by its members, all operating transparently on the blockchain.
So no more CDOs calling all the shots. It's the community who decides the direction of the project.
That's the idea. And NEAR has a really robust framework for creating and managing DAOs. So it's super easy for communities to come together and actually achieve those shared goals.
Can you give me some like real-world examples of DAOs on NEAR?
Sure. One cool example is the NEAR Creator Guild, which is a DAO that's specifically designed to support artists, musicians, and content creators.
So instead of relying on those big platforms or record labels, artists can join this DAO
Yeah.
and have more control over their work.
Exactly. The DAO can provide grants, mentorship, and even help with marketing, all governed by the community itself. It's a really powerful way to empower creators and foster a more equitable creative economy.
That's awesome. Any other notable DAOs we should know about?
Well, even the NEAR Foundation, the organization behind the whole protocol, operates as a DAO. They call it the NEAR Foundation DAO. And it governs how resources and funding are allocated for the entire ecosystem.
Wow, so they're really putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to decentralization. They're not just talking about it, they're loaning it.
Right. And this approach seems to be resonating with people. Remember those impressive market stats that we talked about earlier? That's a testament to the trust and excitement that NEAR is generating.
But let's be real, NEAR isn't the only player in this decentralized space. There's a lot of competition out there. How do they stack up against other blockchain platforms? Especially giants like Ethereum.
That's a fair question. Ethereum has a huge head start, that's for sure. They've got a massive developer community and a ton of dApps that are already running on their platform.
So how can NEAR compete with that?
Yeah.
Are they trying to become like the Ethereum killer?
Not really. They're not trying to replace Ethereum, but rather offer a compelling alternative.
So what are NEAR's advantages? What makes them stand out in this crowded space?
Well, remember those key features we talked about earlier? Scalability, user-friendliness, AI integration. Those are some of NEAR's biggest strengths.
So they're betting that by being faster, easier to use, and more forward-thinking with AI, they can attract developers and users who might be frustrated with the limitations of other platforms.
That's a big part of it. And their approach to governance, with a strong emphasis on DAOs and community involvement, also sets them apart. They're building a more collaborative and inclusive ecosystem.
It sounds like NEAR again is playing the long game, focusing on building a solid foundation for a truly decentralized future.
Exactly. They're not just chasing hype or short-term gains. They're in it for the long haul, building a platform that's sustainable, resilient, and adaptable to the ever-changing landscape of the internet.
But it's not all sunshine and roses, right? There are challenges and potential downsides to this whole decentralized vision. What are some of the things that worry you about NEAR or about Web3 in general?
Well, one concern is security. As more activity moves to these decentralized platforms, the stakes get higher, and the potential for attacks increases.
So we need to make sure that these platforms are robust and secure enough to handle sensitive transactions and protect users' data.
Absolutely. And governance is another big challenge. DAOs are a fascinating experiment, but figuring out how to make decisions effectively and fairly in a decentralized environment is still a work in progress.
And what about the potential for unintended consequences as we move away from these centralized platforms? Who ensures that these new systems are being used for good and not for nefarious purposes?
That's a really important point. Decentralization isn't a magic bullet. It comes with its own set of challenges and potential risks. We need to be thoughtful and careful as we navigate this new terrain.
It's like exploring a new frontier. There's a sense of excitement and possibility, but also a healthy dose of caution and awareness of the unknown.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole space so fascinating. It's a grand experiment, and the outcome is far from certain, but the potential rewards are enormous.
So where do we go from here? We've talked a lot about NEAR's vision, their tech, their community, and the challenges that they face. But I'm curious to hear your perspective on the bigger picture. What does the rise of projects like NEAR tell us about the future of the internet?
It tells us that the internet as we know it is evolving. We're seeing a shift away from those centralized platforms
Mm.
towards more decentralized models, where users have more control, more ownership, and more say in how things are run.
It's like the internet is growing up, moving from a world dominated by a handful of giants to a more diverse and democratic landscape.
That's a great analogy. And Near is one of the pioneers of this new internet, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with blockchain technology and building a more equitable and empowering online experience.
It's exciting to see these new models emerging and to witness the creativity and innovation that's happening in this space.
It truly is. And it's still early days. We're just at the beginning of this journey. And it's going to be fascinating to see how it all unfolds.
So we've talked about how Near is attempting to build this more open, equitable, and user-controlled internet. But can this technology actually bridge the digital divide? Can it empower those who've been left behind by the current digital landscape?
Yeah, that's a question worth pondering. It's a challenge that requires not just technological innovation, but a commitment to education, accessibility, and social inclusion.
Well, we've given you a glimpse into the world of Near Protocol, its potential, its challenges, and its vision for the future. Now it's up to you to decide what role, if any, this technology will play in your own digital journey.
Yeah, explore, experiment, and engage. The future of the internet is being written right now, and you have the opportunity to be a part of it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Near Protocol. Till next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into this fascinating world of technology.
If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives into crypto fundamentals, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow.